Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of psychology. Get ready to uncover some mind-blowing psychological facts that will change the way you see the world. Let's talk about the placebo effect. This is a powerful phenomenon where simply believing in a treatment can actually make it work, even if it's a sugar pill or a fake procedure. Your mind can convince your body that it's getting real medicine, and your body responds accordingly. It's proof that our thoughts and beliefs have a direct impact on our physical well-being. Now, I'm not saying that all illnesses can be cured with positive thinking, but the placebo effect highlights the incredible connection between our minds and bodies. So, the next time you're facing a health challenge, remember the power of the placebo effect. Believe in your ability to heal, and you might be surprised at what your mind and body can accomplish together. Now, let's talk about cognitive dissonance. This is what happens when you hold two conflicting beliefs, ideas, or values at the same time. It creates a feeling of mental discomfort, like a tug-of-war going on inside your head. We've all been there, right? Imagine this. You consider yourself an honest person, but you just told a little white lie. That inconsistency between your values and your actions can create cognitive dissonance. So, what do we do when we're caught in the grip of cognitive dissonance? We find ways to justify our actions or beliefs, even if it means twisting the facts a bit. Understanding cognitive dissonance is crucial because it helps us understand why people sometimes act in ways that seem irrational or hypocritical. Ever notice how our first impressions of someone can color our entire perception of them? That's the halo effect in action. It's the tendency to judge a person's character based on our overall impression of them. If someone is attractive, well-spoken, and charming, we're more likely to assume they're also intelligent, trustworthy, and kind. On the flip side, if someone comes across as unattractive, awkward, or unfriendly, we might make negative assumptions about their character, even if we have no real evidence to support those judgments. The halo effect is a powerful cognitive bias that can influence our decisions in all areas of life, from hiring someone for a job to choosing a romantic partner. So, the next time you meet someone new, be aware of the halo effect. You know, one of the most common ways our minds play tricks on us is through confirmation bias. It's like this. We have a belief, an opinion, and we tend to favor information that confirms what we already believe, even if it's flawed. We're drawn to evidence that supports our existing worldview, and we tend to ignore or downplay anything that challenges it. If you're convinced that a certain political candidate is the best choice, you're more likely to seek out news sources that support that view. Confirmation bias can be a dangerous thing because it prevents us from seeing the world clearly and making objective decisions. The key to overcoming confirmation bias is to be open-minded and to actively seek out diverse perspectives. The bystander effect is a chilling phenomenon that reveals a lot about human psychology. It describes a situation where people are less likely to help a victim when other people are present. This isn't just a rare occurrence, it's something that happens more often than we might think. The more bystanders there are, the less likely anyone is to take responsibility and intervene. Think about it for a moment. You're walking down a busy street, and you see someone lying on the ground, seemingly hurt. Your first instinct might be to help, but then you hesitate. You look around and see that other people are also witnessing the situation, but nobody's doing anything. Everyone seems to be waiting for someone else to make the first move. You start to think, well, if it were really serious, someone else would have done something by now, right? This thought process is common and can be dangerous. That's the bystander effect in action. It's a psychological phenomenon where we diffuse responsibility, assuming that someone else will take charge. In doing so, we risk allowing a bad situation to escalate into something far worse. The consequences can be dire. In ambiguous situations, we often look to others for cues on how to behave. If no one else is acting, we assume that action isn't necessary. This can create a dangerous loop of inaction. So, what can we do about it? Awareness is key. If we ever find ourselves in a situation where someone needs help, we can make a conscious effort to overcome our natural tendency to freeze or defer to others. By being aware of the bystander effect, we can take proactive steps to ensure that we don't fall victim to it. Taking action, even if it's just calling for help, can make a significant difference. The Dunning-Kruger effect describes this tendency for people with low ability at a task to overestimate their ability. In other words, the less you know, the more confident you are that you're an expert. Have you ever met someone who was completely incompetent at their job but seemed completely oblivious to their own shortcomings? The problem is that when you lack competence, you also lack the ability to recognize your own incompetence. On the flip side, people with high ability at a task often underestimate their own competence. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a reminder that we should always approach new challenges with a healthy dose of humility. Don't be afraid to admit when you don't know something, and be open to learning from others. Ever notice how we tend to follow the crowd, especially when we're unsure of what to do? That's social proof at work. It's the idea that we determine what's correct by finding out what other people think is correct. We look to others for cues on how to behave, especially in unfamiliar or ambiguous situations. You're in a new city, and you're trying to decide where to eat. You see a restaurant with a long line out the door, while another restaurant across the street is practically empty. Social proof is a powerful force that can influence our decisions in all areas of life, from what we buy to who we vote for. It's important to think for yourself and make your own decisions, but also be aware of the power of social proof. The Pygmalion effect, also known as the Rosenthal effect, is a fascinating phenomenon that demonstrates the power of expectations. Basically, it shows that higher expectations lead to an increase in performance. When we believe in someone's potential, they're more likely to rise to the occasion. Imagine a teacher who has high expectations for her students. Those students, in turn, are more likely to work hard, perform well, and ultimately live up to their teacher's expectations. The Pygmalion effect is a reminder that our beliefs about ourselves and others can have a profound impact on our behavior and outcomes. Set high expectations, believe in their potential, and watch them soar. We live in a world of endless options, but here's the catch: too much choice can actually be paralyzing. It's a phenomenon that affects us in various aspects of our lives, from shopping for groceries to choosing what to watch on TV. That's the paradox of choice. The more options we have, the harder it becomes to make a decision. We assume that having more options is always better, but in reality, it can lead to decision paralysis, dissatisfaction, and even regret. This is because our brains can only process so much information at once. You walk into a grocery store and you're faced with an overwhelming array of choices for something as simple as cereal. Each brand promises something different, making it difficult to choose. You might spend ages agonizing over your decision, only to end up feeling dissatisfied with your choice, wondering if you made the right one. This constant second-guessing can be mentally exhausting. The paradox of choice highlights the limits of our cognitive abilities. When faced with too many options, our brains struggle to weigh the pros and cons effectively. One strategy is to simplify your choices. By narrowing down your options, you can make the decision-making process more manageable and less stressful. Remember, the goal is not to find the absolute best option, but to find an option that's good enough, and that you can be happy with. Embracing this mindset can lead to greater satisfaction and peace of mind. Ever wonder why you might develop a fondness for a particular song after hearing it multiple times, even if you didn't like it at first? That's the mere exposure effect in action. It suggests that we tend to develop a preference for things simply because they are familiar to us. This phenomenon isn't just limited to music. You see a stranger every day on your way to work. Over time, as you continue to encounter them, you might find yourself feeling more positively toward them, even if you've never spoken to them. This effect can extend to various aspects of our lives. The mere exposure effect is a powerful force that can influence our preferences for everything from music and food to people and places. It can shape our social interactions and even our daily routines. So the next time you find yourself drawn to something familiar, take a moment to consider whether it's truly because you like it or simply because you've been exposed to it repeatedly. This awareness can help you understand your preferences better. You might be surprised at what you discover. The mere exposure effect is a subtle yet significant influence on our daily lives. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the human mind. See you next time.